Okay, so here's another radio report and size up video. You've been dispatched to a condominium fire, and you arrive on scene, and these are the conditions that you have. So once again, you will press pause, give your initial radio report, and then unpause the video and we'll go from there. So when you're ready, just hit pause, give your initial radio report. Okay, so how do we do on that one? Again, basically you are giving a description of the building, description of conditions, and description of your actions. So first you clear with 765 to ensure that they are ready to receive your message and that you are also on the correct tack. So 765, this is engine 1. Go ahead, engine 1. Engine 1 is on scene. Medium-sized one-floor condominium unit. We have a working fire on the alpha side. We're stretching an attack line for search, rescue, and fire control. This is an offensive strategy. Engine 1 is Highland Command. So in that report you have given a description of the building, the conditions you've encountered, your actions. You've declared a strategy, offensive or defensive, and you've named command. So what's next now? Well, using Blue Card, and this will give you a bit of a template to help you understand what jobs, what tasks need to immediately be addressed in any given situation you find yourself. So you come up with 3 critical factors that need to be done right away. Things that are not to be delayed for further down in the event. So what's the first critical factor we see? Well, rescue is always our number 1 priority, and here we have 2 vehicles in the driveway, which would suggest that occupants are inside. So your first critical factor is the location and condition of any occupants. Next, we've got heavy fire coming out of the kitchen window. So we need fire control. That'll be so we need the size and the location of the fire. That's our second critical factor. The third critical factor is we've got smoke showing above the garage. Now, is that attic space? And if that's attic space, are these units joined? Do they have a common attic? Can this fire spread on us to other units? So we've got to check for extension and any fire extension into the attic to make sure that this fire is not running down these units, and instead of having 1 unit on fire, we have 2 or 3 units on fire. So those are the 3 critical factors, and that's what's going to drive the incident commander's decisions on what needs to be done and what tasks to assign to incoming units. So let's say engine 3 is next to arrive, and it's engine 3 Highland Command calling. Go ahead, Highland Command. Engine 3, I need you to establish a water supply and then take a second line off of engine 1 and get a primary search done. Engine 3 will echo that message back to you that they're going to establish a water supply, grab another hand line, and get primary search done. Truck 6 is next to arrive. Truck 6, Highland Command. Go ahead, Highland Command. Truck 6, I need you to check for any extension of fire into the attic. And check on any fire extension into adjoining units. Truck 6 copy will check on extension of fire into the attic and any adjoining units. So right there, that's pretty simple. You've got those 3 critical factors covered. And was it that hard? I know people feel that the first arriving IC is sort of overwhelmed with jobs to do, but if you break it down, if you have that template of addressing, identifying those 3 critical factors, and then getting them covered with tasks from incoming units, it's a pretty smooth operation so far. The things you needed to get done immediately are getting done. Now, I have had the question, can I pass command? And yes, you could pass command. So let's just talk about that for a moment. You can't simply get on the radio and say, Highland Command needs to pass command ASAP. Number one, somebody might not hear that message. Number two, you're assuming whoever shows up is going to take command. We don't know that for sure. So you can't just throw it up there and walk away from it and act like you're not command anymore. Until somebody else assumes command, you are command. You need to get these jobs done. That is your job. That is your role. So let's talk about ways that command could be passed. When Engine 3 arrives on scene, you could contact them and task them, just as you did. Engine 3, I need you to establish a water supply, and I need you to assume Highland Command. Engine 3 would radio back, Engine 3 copy, we're establishing a water supply, and Engine 3 will assume Highland Command. Break 765, Engine 3. Go ahead, Engine 3. Engine 3 is assuming Highland Command. So that's how that transfer would take place. But the Engine 3 captain now, he has to take a look at these critical factors. He doesn't know that you've done that job yet. He doesn't know that you've got a game plan in your mind. So he needs to take a look at this and come up with those factors of life safety, fire control, and possible extension. So again, it's his game, so there's a little bit of a delay because he's got to take a look at this, assess what he needs to get done, and go from there. If you as Engine 1 have been able to do that, have been able to see these three critical factors, there really is no reason why you can't hold on to command and get them tasked. Probably by that time, Car 1 or Car 2 is showing up on scene, and they'll take over from there and deal with anything else that needs to be done, utilities, ventilation, any other needs that they have found that need to be addressed. Another way of passing command or getting your message out. Again, Engine 3 isn't on scene yet. Units are delayed. This is farther away than anticipated. Whatever. You're on scene for a little bit. You need to pass that command. You can use the radio procedures that we're using on D Squad to simply talk to Car 1 or Car 2, which would be Car 1 Highland Command calling. Car 1 go ahead. And then you'd simply say, Car 1 Highland Command needs to pass command ASAP. The car would get back, Car 1 copies, your need to pass command ASAP. So that gives you a little bit of a guardian angel there that's looking over the scene and making sure that somebody is going to be assuming command from you. And if Engine 3 arrives on scene, and after a reasonable amount of time you have not passed command to them or they have not assumed command from you, then that makes a perfect time for the car to step in and simply call to Engine 3. Engine 3, Car 1 calling. Go ahead, Car 1. Engine 3, you need to assume Highland Command from Engine 1. And so that sort of prompts them and gets them into action and gets that ball rolling and gets the transfer of command going. So those are things we can talk about when I come around to the halls, and we can deal with that. What else needed to be done on this scene? You've got your three critical factors done. You're getting your guys at task. Did you do a 360 on this building? It's a condominium complex. Does that make it more difficult for you to get a 360 done? Well, yes, it does. Benefit here is this is an end unit, so it might be a little easier to get a peek around the back than if it was the middle unit. But it's important to get a 360 done. It's important to see the condition on the back side. It's important to see if there's a rescue that's needed on the back side of this building. Don't get tunnel vision. Don't get moth to flame syndrome where you're just staring right at this fire and this, occupies your perception, occupies your thoughts, tunnels you in and prevents you from seeing the bigger picture. There is a bigger picture that you need to have. So you need to get a 360 done on this building. In the next clip, we'll talk about that a little bit more. Okay, we've done our 360, and what's the first thing we notice? We have a victim. We've got a victim, we have a working fire, second floor Charlie side, and we've got a walkout basement. So we can get a peek in that basement, and we can confirm that there is no working fire in the basement, that it's just a smoke coming down from the first floor fire that's going on there. So our follow-up radio report now is going to go 765 Highland Command. We have a victim. The 360 has been completed. We have a victim on the Charlie side. We need EMS to attend to the rear of the building for patient care. I'm going to need another EMS unit to attend. We have a walkout basement, no basement involvement, and confirming working fire on first floor Alpha. So there's our 360, and it's a good thing we did do the 360. I'm hoping you're seeing how important getting around and seeing the full structure is. It is a critical part of our size up. If you don't do the 360 and you have a situation like this and you have a victim down, how far into the event is it going to be before somebody else gets around to the back side of this building and discovers the victim? How is that going to play out in any investigation that may come from this event? Days, weeks, months later, what's going to happen? What kind of lawsuits could there be? And all because you didn't go around the back and do your job. I don't say this to scare anybody. I'm actually trying to empower all the company officers. I'm trying to get you to embrace this role as a company officer, because that is the most important job on the fire ground. The company officer is the one who is going to get all of the jobs done that bring about a successful and safe end to this fire scene. The company officer, and I'm not speaking now of the initial arriving officer, I'm just speaking of the company officer in general. The company officer is the eyes and ears of command. The platoon chief or the district chief in the car, they can't see all these things. They can't see inside the building. The CAN reports, the conditions, actions, and needs that you report back to Car 1 or Car 2 are what is going to give him a picture of what's going on and what needs to be done and how successful all these jobs are. So it's important for the company officer to understand how important he is. Speaking personally, the hardest transition for me on the job was going from firefighter to company officer. Firefighter, you're sort of at the little picture. You're what's right in front of you type of thing. You're doing the grunt work with everything. And you don't tend to step back and see what the bigger picture is. That's what the company officer should be doing. He needs to be seeing these things. And then, as I said, he's the eyes and ears of command. When command asks for CAN reports. The company officer gives him the information that he has been gathering throughout the event, which helps drive the event further along and brings about its successful completion. So embrace that role of company officer and understand how important it is. It's not just a bump up in pay grade. We'll continue this with a walk around video to just get another little bit of perspective and see how else it plays out. Okay, let's do a live walk around of this unit. So down at the end, got your hydrant. Here's the roadway you're coming into. And there's the end unit that was on fire. So we have a condo complex of 4 units, with the end unit being the unit involved. So your radio message might actually include that part. It's a single floor condominium, the end unit, Bravo side. So you could throw that one in there. So now let's begin our 360 walk around. Checking on any fire conditions. Maybe from this window there's fire or smoke showing. This other window. Oh, it just happens to be fire engines coming just as I'm doing this. Pretty good. There's some realism. So what about this wall? Is this gonna make you stop all of a sudden? Now, since we already know there's a victim involved, it's not going to. But normally, might you? Well, again, we shouldn't. Let's actually get a real good look and see what's going on around the Charlie side. Well, the wall ends there. There's where we found our victim. There's the upper level that was on fire. And we've got the walkout basement. Now, just to role play this a little bit more, let's say this basement was involved. Would you have changed up and taken the hose around this long wall and all the way around to the back here? Well, it's a possibility. Again, you don't want to send crews in on the first floor above a roaring basement fire. But what else does our 360 reveal? Oh, the road comes right down to there. So as command, you might be tasking the next incoming engine to continue straight down to that road and bring a second line in through there, through the backyards, to get to the basement fire here. And there's 2 points of egress for that basement fire. You could get those windows smashed out to get at it. You could go right through the walkout basement and get at it. Once you got the knockdown on that, then crews could go into the first floor safely, knowing they're not going to fall through the floor and into a basement fire. Okay, one problem we're going to encounter with the victim. Again, as command, you're going to need to task somebody to get back here to look after the victim. So we're going to need oxygen for them, maybe the burn packs for them. And one little problem with our responding method is there's no way of knowing that EMS is en route or has even arrived, because they are not on our radio tax. So you're going to have to get on to 765 at this point and inform them to contact EMS that we have a victim on the Charlie side. And you're also going to need to get a second EMS unit rolling onto this scene. So it's a little bit of a delay glitch there, because you just simply can't talk to an EMS unit and tell them to come back to the Charlie side for a victim. You're going to have to go through 765 on that one to get all that information passed along. Okay, I just want to conclude the video by establishing a timeline, just to get you an overview of how this would all break down time-wise. So first of all, you're making your arrival, and then you're going to give your initial radio report. Next up, you'll be exiting the vehicle and determining those critical fireground factors. So life safety and fire control will be almost instantly noted. Fire extension may take a few moments of thought for you to come up with that one, or to get that one clarified. At this time, what's your crew doing? Well, they'll be exiting the vehicle and they'll be stretching their hose line. Your driver will be getting the pump into gear, getting the line charged. Your guys are masking up. So that all takes time. And now, this is a perfect time for you to do your 360. Now let me clarify the 360 a little bit. You don't have to necessarily have to walk around this whole structure. Let's go and use the word situational awareness. As you are arriving, there's a very good chance you've already got to look at three sides of this structure, or any structure. As you're pulling up, you're seeing one side of the building. Pulling in front of the building, you're seeing the front. And you should pull your vehicle past the building, and that would give you a look at the other side. So really, you've done 270 degrees of size up at that point. So all you really need to do is get around to the back to take a look at the back side. So you don't have to start from square one and run around the entire length of the building. You get a look at three sides upon your arrival. Now you just need to check out the back side. So that's, simplifies doing that 360. So again, as your crews are at task and busy doing that work of getting water and pulling the line, you're doing your 360, and perhaps by that time engine 3 has arrived. So probably the only unit you're tasking at this point as you're walking around, because again, you're not standing in the front of the house here just waiting for all units to arrive and tasking them. You're doing your 360. So again, let's say engine 3 arrives. So you'd get on the radio and you just ask them to establish the water supply for you and take a second line off of engine 1. Now you've made it around to the back of the building, you've discovered the victim. Well, who are you going to assign for patient care? Your crew is probably a really bad choice because they're busy pulling line and they're getting all masked up. So they're, operationally, they're just not ready for running back to the truck, getting the medical kit, burn packs, and then getting back around. Engine 3 would be a much better choice to assign for patient care. And the engine 3 driver and the engine 1 driver, they can complete doing the water supply as engine 3 is back at their vehicle grabbing all their medical gear and then coming around to the Charlie side for the victim. So that's really just a basic timeline of it, and now you'd be making your way back to the front, and now other units are coming in, and then you'd start assigning and tasking them upon their arrival.